If I told you 6 months ago that Nikita and Battle State would make all of the bosses 100% spawn rate for the beginning of wipe, you'd call me crazy. Yet that's exactly what they've done. Today, BSG released the third stage of what the hardcore wipe is going to look like, and that's the big change. They also announced that there's going to be reduced experience for killing enemies and dying, increased XP for surviving, and increased AI difficulty. I believe these changes shift the focus of the wipe largely from PvP to focused questing and surviving. That's not something I'm sure will be positive for the future of this game. Bosses at 100% could drive more PvP because that's going to be the meta for finding good armor and ammo, but you're also way more likely to die going after the bosses, which could deter a lot of people from playing that way. Increased AI difficulty is also an interesting change, but I fear that it could drive players that would play super quietly and that there could be more player scavving. The second stage was announced a few days ago, and we found out that most of the locations will only be available via transition, meaning that you will likely only be able to enter raids from customs, woods, or ground zero. The reason I believe this is because Gigabeef and a few other creators have posted this graphic kind of detailing how you would get from map to map. This map shows that you can get to each map in the game just by transiting once, except for Labyrinth and Labs. So I think, those three maps could be the ones that we're able to start our raids on. I think the whole transition thing could be mixed because while it's kind of cool that they're moving towards the open world Tarkov experience, it also kind of sucks because load times are going to be very long and you're going to spend like an hour on just a single quest if you have to transit multiple times just to get there. So I think that's pretty frustrating. It could be a really annoying blocker for a lot of quests. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Another thing we found out on the second page of the announcement is that secure containers are going to be restricted. You won't be able to store ammo, currency, and certain medicine items in there. So I think that's going to be a big change. I think it's likely injectors that you won't be allowed to put in your secure container, as those are kind of the end game version of medicine. So they also announced that traders will have a limited range of items, including medicine, weapons, ammo, and armor. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of comes of that and what they're taking off of traders. They also announced that there's going to be a reduced item selling price and increased purchase price from traders. So I think that money's going to be super tight this wipe and that you're going to have to run a lot of budget kits. These changes kind of push the player base to a DayZ style of play where looting food, meds, and weapons is going to be the key to survive. You're also going to want to survive as many raids as possible. So you're going to be less incentivized to go for big fights and a lot of action in your raids and more incentivized to play quietly and tactically. So that's going to be a mixed change. I think a lot of people are going to like that it's more tactical and stressful, and some people are going to miss the more PvP centered playstyle. What's up, guys? I'm actually in the middle of editing this video. You can see right here, but Nikita just tweeted this out. So he said, Tig said, he had this long tweet about how PMC runs are going to be really difficult, and that's the meta is going to be scav runs, progressing your ref trader level, and then wait till the zones open up to do your questing. And then Nikita responded, nope, it will be nerfs to ref and scav play as well. So I think that's great. I think, later in this video, I'm not going to cut it out, but I kind of have my own thoughts on how ref and scav are currently and, what I think they should do to balance it. So I'm super excited for this update now. I think scav play and ref needs to be nerfed. So I think this is super great, and I'm actually really excited for this wipe now. Unfortunately, there's been no scav nerf mentioned, and many people in the comments have kind of mentioned that they're just going to rely on scavs this wipe to supplement their PMC. I think it's pretty sad, as the whole point of the game is to progress as a PMC and eventually escape from Tarkov. But I do understand that they don't want to ostracize a portion of their player base that enjoys playing as scav. I just prefer players having to take more risks and play as a PMC. Right now, player scavs are kind of broken. You can oftentimes spawn in with better ammo and gear than low-level players, and you can run around the map freely without giving away any info. Oftentimes when you're a PMC, if you're running around on a map like streets or woods or shoreline, just getting shot at kind of gives away your position, and it makes it easier for other players to kill you. And player scavs don't really have to worry about that. Also, player scavs can cooperate with other scavs, and via the interaction menu, they can get scavs to follow them and help them take down PMCs. So that was just something I kind of wanted to see that didn't get mentioned, so that's kind of a bummer. I think Tiggs makes a good point here, because right now ref is the quickest path to meta guns, attachments, and kits. If he's left unchanged, the players who don't have Tarkov Arena or Unheard or EAD, they're gonna be left behind by other players. You can realistically get to ref loyalty level 2 within a day or less of wipe if you have the upgraded version of the game, and you're gonna be miles ahead of players without him. So I just think it's kind of broken. You can also see how they made his questline easier over the past few months. And through this, you can kind of tell they want people to buy Arena. And if they leave ref unchanged for this wipe, it's going to drive so many more people to buy Arena, because it's going to allow them to get better gear, ammo, armor, all of that. I think this kind of sucks for the balance of the game and the slower progression they're going for, but it does make sense from a business perspective, which is why I think it could happen. This is the worst outcome for non-EOD players and non-Unheard players, and I think it's one of the most annoying ways for Battlestate to monetize Tarkov, short of selling rubles on the website. If I was at Battlestate, I could think of countless other methods to monetize the game in creative ways. I really don't know why there aren't more player cosmetics. The Deadly Frog kit is one of the best in the game, and they haven't released any more paid cosmetics since then. I think the Battle Pass was good, but they could have made one-off skins like Deadly Frog that would bring in much more revenue. And then I think a lot of people like the tracksuit skin because it has a gold chain. Why don't they add rings or watches or bracelet cosmetics that would sell like crazy, because people love having these things that you could always see in raid. They could also sell hideout cosmetics, menu screens, and voice lines, just to name a few. This norm that Battlestate has of different versions of the game giving players competitive advantages over the others is unusual in the gaming space, and it's pretty frustrating for new players. With that being said, I think the main takeaway of this video should be that ref staying unchanged would really alter the course of this wipe for the negative. And I think that it could set a bad precedent for what the final balance of Tarkov 1.0 looks like. While it could be one of those things that they don't mention in the announcements, but that we see in the patch notes, I'm not really holding my breath. I'm cautiously optimistic that changing ref could be part of the trader balance changes on the second page, but that remains to be seen. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you guys have any thoughts on these announcements and the direction of Tarkov, please comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Thanks.